Today we're going to see who would win the US Civil War if it were fought through basketball, using 2K26 to simulate the battles and war. I'll be using geographically accurate teams which will be facing their enemies on the court, where the losing team will have casualties as punishment. After a round of battles, teams will be reassembled as needed until one side of the war is completely eliminated. And to follow the war theme of things, all fouls and rules will be turned off, while also increasing every participating player's tendency to foul and hard foul. The map I'll be using to create the teams is from the US Civil War, and the colors signify which state was on which side. Blue meaning it was from the Union, red the Confederacy, red and blue meaning it was divided, and the states that are gray might have had significant impacts in the war in certain ways, but all of them sent 25,000 troops or less, so they will not qualify for this video. Which also happens to make things more interesting because powerhouse basketball states like California, Florida, and New Jersey won't be dominating this war. Each side will have 3 battalions which will be geographically based, and for all the states in each battalion, the best current players from those states will be representing them in the war, as well as a general who will be the best all-time player from each region. Starting with the Union, their 1st battalion, the Midwest, will be made up of Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and most of Missouri. The 2nd battalion, the Great Lakes, will have Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, most of Kentucky, and most of West Virginia. And the Union's 3rd and final battalion, New England, will have New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and most of Maryland in their name. Now for the Confederacy. Their 1st battalion, the Southwest, will contain Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and some of Missouri. The 2nd battalion, the Sun Belt, will have Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and some of Kentucky and West Virginia. And their final battalion, the Atlantic, will be made up of South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and some of Maryland. Based on these conditions, I went out and assembled the best players possible for each region. For current players, they were assigned strictly by which state they were born in. For generals, I wasn't choosing 100% off of their birthplace, but I think my decisions there will make sense in a moment. It's only right the Midwest general is none other than Larry Bird of Indiana, a perfect 99 overall. From there, they are led by 3 current 90+ overall players in Tatum, AD, and Halliburton. Their worst players are 79 overalls, which is a best for the Union. Their starting 5 will be Halliburton, Hero, Bird, Tatum, and AD. The Great Lakes general is 99 overall Kobe out of Pennsylvania. They also have 3 current 90 overall players, but more importantly, Ohio, who tends to dominate Geo basketball videos because LeBron and Curry were both born in Akron. Their starting 5 features Curry, Booker, Kobe, LeBron, and Derek Lively. And for New England, they are led by 7'2", 99 overall Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Honestly, I thought New York was still pretty dominant at basketball, but apparently not as much as they used to be. Their only other 90 overall player is Donovan Mitchell. But those two might make for a good duo, and this team might just allow Kareem to shoot every time, which wouldn't be a bad strategy. Their starting 5 is Emmanuel Quickley, Donovan Mitchell, Cooper Flagg, Josh Hart, and Kareem. Now for the Confederacy. First up is the Southwest region. Their general is 98 overall Shaq. Yes, he was born in New Jersey, but A, they aren't included in this video. B, he spent most of his life growing up in Texas and Louisiana. And C, the Confederates were well known for having better military leadership, such as Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. So if anything, this helps the historical accuracy of this video. The rest of this team is mostly Texas, including their other 2 90 overall players, Cade Cunningham and Trae Young. They also have the highest floor of any team in the war, with 80 overalls being their worst. Their starting 5 for now will be Trae Young, Cade Cunningham, Jimmy Butler, Julius Randle, and Shaq. Next is the Sun Belt region, the heart of slavery itself. Ironically though, the weakest of the 3 battalions. Their general is Tennessee native 97 overall Oscar Robertson. They do have the highest rated American-born player currently in 2K with 95 overall Anthony Edwards. Their starting 5 will be Oscar Robertson, Ant, Jaylen Brown, Jabari Smith Jr., and Walker Kessler. The last battalion, the Atlantic, their general is 99 overall Michael Jordan, aka Stonewall Jackson. He was born in New York, but primarily grew up in North Carolina. And now I haven't mentioned the divided states so far, but it's actually quite simple how it's going to work. Of all the worthy players to be fought over, the Confederacy took 1, and that's Kevin Durant. If any player were to be a traitor, it would be him, and he rounds his team out nicely. Their starting 5 will be Ja Morant, MJ, KD, Zion, and Nicholas Claxton. The first round of battles were pretty easy to decide based on location. And speaking of location, home court advantage will be determined by just how I find the matchup in the course of the game in the MyGM mode I'm using to make this. And for the matchups in the first round, the Midwest will face the Southwest, the Great Lakes will face the Sun Belt, and New England will fight the Atlantic. Each roster currently has 15 players, so 10 players will be randomly killed off after each loss. After the first 3 battles are fought and 30 players are gone, I'll reassemble the teams based on the results and choose new battles. But let's get started. The Midwest versus the Southwest. The Midwest has a 13 overall advantage in their starting 5, but the Confederates have Shaq. And that reminds me, 2K doesn't allow you to include the word con in any aspect of their team designs, let alone the word Confederacy, so they'll also be known as and referred to as just the South. Shaq started this game off strong and was looking scary between his powerful dunks and getting his nose above the rim for a rebound. And Cade really got this war started off when he tried to Zaza Pachulia Desmond Bane on his 3-pointer. Jalen Johnson tried to get their lick back on him in the fast break, but Cade scored through contact and put the South up 5 in the second quarter. Instead of putting one of their near 7-footers in to give AD a break, the Union let Larry Bird guard Shaq, which wasn't working out well. And oh yeah, it turns out Trae Young is capable of interior defense if you just let him foul. Between Tyler Hero's defense on Shaq and Tatum thinking he's going to score over Diesel E. Lee, the Southwest Confederacy went into the half with an 8-point lead. That lead of theirs held up pretty well, but with 2 minutes left in the game, AD, who is the last man in the NBA prepared for battle, went God mode and brought the game within 6. However, it was all for nothing because on the following possessions, Tatum and Hero missed open to wide open threes, which helped the Southwest Confederacy finish out this battle strong with a 9-point win. In 4-minute quarters, Shaq nearly had a perfect double-double, Randall put up 9, and Cade did it all with 4, 5, and 3. The Union was more or less led by Tatum with 8, but he went 3 and 10 in the game, so he might have shot them in the foot. Now it is time for our first round of eliminations. Bring out the firing squad, aka the random wheel of names. Now this is what I did to decide fairly who is living and who is dying. I could show you this for a minute in between every game, or you could just trust me and save some watch time by letting me show you this graphic. And for clarity, to show you I didn't rig this, I'll include a sped up version of all the spins in the outro. Now this might not be the best timing for this, but I did mess up on this first firing squad. I forgot to include Larry Bird on the list, which I caught and dealt with later. But hey, let's just call that white privilege. Anyway, the Midwest will be survived by Bird, Tatum, Hero, Bane, MPJ, and Matas Buzelis. My mistake helped them, but either way, they did pretty well for themselves surviving, and even their worst 2 players are 6'10", and height seems to be important in this. The next battle will be between the Sun Belt and the Great Lakes. Again, the Union has the overall starting 5 advantage by 14 this time, but the South has the guard advantage. These teams were very evenly matched to begin with, then Draymond Green came in, which makes perfect sense that he would shine in a war video. He got a quick putback and put them up 5, and he might have had some solid advice for LeBron because shortly after his appearance, LeBron gave the South's 3rd best player, Jaylen Brown, a collapsed lung. And oh yeah, injuries are on, and between all the settings I have included for this, I think they'll be bound to happen as much as possible. And shortly after this assassination, Curry hit a deep shot to give the Union an 8-point lead, which they were able to ride out for a while. It wasn't until the 4th quarter that the South were back in this game, starting off with their strong defense, aka Jabari tried rupturing Kobe's other Achilles, and now that Kobe understood the threat of violence on the court, he was no match for Jabari inside, who tied the game at 20. But the Union Lightskins were having moments of greatness, including another pair of Devin Booker threes. This ended up with the South being down 3 with 10 seconds remaining, and screw a play, the Big O gave it to his rookie and let him shoot that thing. That was off, but Lively was quickly fouled and missed a free throw, which left the door open. But on the inbound, the Big O had some big dementia and forgot to attempt a shot, so we'll be seeing him in the firing squad. And the firing squad wasn't the best to the Sun Belt. They lost their general, 2 of the worst 3 players survived. Now obviously it's a big deal they kept the best current American, Anthony Edwards, but no one here is taller than 6'6". And for the final first round battle, we have New England versus the Atlantic. For the first time so far, the South have the starting 5 overall advantage, which is 13. Ja brought his choppers out for this one. He had 3 3-pointers in the first quarter, which put the South ahead early. And Ja's lifestyle of unorganized crime seemed to be spreading positively amongst his teammates today. Brandon Ingram and Trey Murphy were able to hit some shots of their own, and the Confederates went up 10 in the first half. I was expecting Kareem to be the ultimate cheat code in this war. He's 7'2", he's Muslim, his skyhook is unstoppable, but the bigs from the Atlantic were making his life Jahannam throughout the middle of this game. He finally showed up in the fourth quarter with back-to-back strong dunks, but don't forget the South have a GOAT of their own. MJ decided to show up shortly after Kareem's appearance with back-to-back three-pointers and put this game to bed. The Confederates won their second battle out of the first round, 37-44. Turns out this game was just a duel of GOATs. MJ had 15, Ja had 11, and Kareem had the first double-double so far with 18 and 10. Although I swear it was not that pretty. Hopefully he'll get to live to fight another day. But the firing squad has decided his fate. Kareem is down and this team has been decimated. They kept Donovan Mitchell, but the rest isn't looking too good. All first round battles have been fought, the Confederates are up early with a 2-1 advantage, and due to those factors, I shaped the new teams accordingly. The Union is down from 45 soldiers to 25, and they will have an entirely new team composed of their survivors from New England and the Midwest. And because I accidentally kept 6 players from the Midwest, their worst player, Jose Alvarado, will be heading home and racking up DUIs. Partly because the Union teams were so stacked to begin with, and with some luck, their surviving squad is not bad at all. They still have 3 90 overall players. Their new starting 5 will have Donovan Mitchell at the point, then Tyler Hero, Larry Bird, Jason Tatum, and a very underrated Donovan Clingan at center. The Great Lakes Battalion will remain the exact same. They won their first battle, but their side doesn't have control of the war yet, and they're lucky that their survivors can fight again. The Confederacy is down from 45 soldiers to 35. There wasn't too much to do with their survivors, but I think it's fair to say that they would control their supply lines right now, so I thought it was fair at this point to move their survivors to either remaining team as needed. So for the Southwest, Malik Monk is going home with shrapnel wounds and PTSD, while 95 overall Anthony Edwards will take his place, becoming the second best player on this team and turning this battalion into a real opponent for the Great Lakes when needed. Their new starting 5 will send Julius Randle to the bench and will consist of Trey, Ant, Cade, Jimmy, and Shaq. The Atlantic will be accepting 3 more Georgians for some added depth in Stephen Castle, Devin Vassell, and Malik Beasley, while sending Ace Bailey, Scoot Henderson, and Wendell Carter Jr. back to their by now broken up families. And the Atlantic starting 5 will remain the same. For this next round, there will be 2 battles. The Union survivors will be facing the Southwest Rebels, and the Great Lake Union Battalion will face the Atlantic Confederate Battalion. The Great Lakes and the Southwest are starting to clearly look like the best teams on the map, but I don't want to send these two face to face yet. I want to give the weaker battalions a chance to tear them apart before they meet each other. Up first is the Union survivors versus the Southwest. The starting 5 for the Southwest has a 13 overall advantage, however the Union survivors are better at 3 out of 5 positions. The Union had an early lead in this one thanks to a few fellas that just played the game the right way, and of course some lockdown defense, but Clingan became tired quickly and the Union decided to put Tobias Harris and Larry Bird on Shaq, so their lead quickly disappeared. A minute into the third quarter, Ant got a clean stop on Hero's drive to the basket and found Trey Young for a 3-pointer that gave the South their first lead of the game. Neither team's lead was above 1 for several minutes, but with 3 minutes left in the third, Trey Young displayed how dominant he is in the paint once again with back-to-back buckets and close. He gave the South some breathing room with a 3-point lead, but Tatum was about to erase that lead with a wide open 3. With a minute 20 in the game, Trey went back to his bread and butter but missed. Shaq got his rebound. This should be a gimme, but Clingan goaltends it off the backboard. The Union go the other way and Bird brings the game within 1. With 30 seconds to go, Trey passes up a close shot for once and sets up Shaq for the alley-oop, giving the South a 3-point lead. With 20 seconds left, you might expect Bird to be setting up a 3-pointer, but why would he do that when he could get shut down in the paint and set up Clingan for a panic shot? Trey Young ends up being the one going to the free throw line and he puts this game away. The South win again 37-33. And these survivors are once again going to the firing squad. I could wipe this team out at this point, but I'm going to stick with the theme of allowing 5 survivors. So 5 of these men will be eliminated. And the Union survivors once again have luck on their side. They lost General Bird, but they kept 2 out of their 3 best players in Tatum and Mitchell. Bane is a pretty solid keeper, and even Phillip and Matis both bring some height to the table. And for the second and final game of the second round, we have the Great Lakes Union facing the Atlantic Confederacy. The Atlantic hold a 1 overall advantage, but partially due to Draymond moving into the starting 5. The beginning of this game was a lot of Kobe and Jordan comparing girth, which left things even. But in the second quarter, LeBron got things started by finding McCall open for a 3 to put the Union up 4. Then Curry finally showed up in this war and hit back-to-back tough threes to give the Union a 10-point lead late in the second quarter. Jordan thought he would put the Atlantic back in this thing, but Devin Booker came prepared with a solid defense on the fast break and laid Jordan out. And these trends continued for the rest of the game. The Great Lakes were hitting tough shots, easy shots, and not allowing the Atlantic to get a clean look at the basket by any means necessary. The Great Lakes ended up blowing out the Atlantic by 19 points. Jordan was held to a team high of 8 on 4 for 12 shooting, and on the other side, Curry led the way with 12, while no one on the entire team shot under 50%. For the first time, the Atlantic will be torn apart, going from 15 to 5 players and possibly even things out in this war. And they got hit pretty bad. They lost General Jordan, Lieutenant Job Wick, and many more. They kept 93 overall Benedict Arnold. They still have Zion, but that might be a liability with worsened supply lines. Players might have to start rationing. It's time for round 3 and the rosters are going to be reconstructed again. Both sides have a team of 5 survivors and a powerhouse near original team. So what I decided to do is to give the 5 survivors the worst 5 players from their allies' still existing team. The Union survivors are led by Jason Tatum and Donovan Mitchell. Their starting 5 features Mitchell, Bane, their only starting reinforcement DeAndre Hunter, then Tatum and Filipowski. The Great Lakes Union hasn't lost anything noticeable. They still have a near perfect squad. The Confederate survivors are led by KD, Zion, and now Miles Turner. There are definite dogs on this team with Naismith, Portis, and Caruso. Some uncalled flagrant fouls might be in their future. Their starting 5 will be Caruso, Naismith, KD, Zion, and Miles Turner. And for the Southwest, they still look like an all-star team. They haven't been touched. For the third round matchups, it's time for the Juggernauts to face off. But first, the Union survivors will be facing the Confederate survivors. The Union holds a 4 overall advantage coming into this one. This game was not the prettiest and not the highest scoring either. We're here in the fourth quarter tied at 23 apiece. Some of the subs are in the game right now, and we have an unexpected war hero in Matas Buzelis. He gave the Union back-to-back stops, and with their lackluster offense, he was the sole reason they were staying in this game at this point. But with a minute and a half remaining, they got him to switch off, and Gafford gave the South a big 2-point lead. But not to worry, the Union had the best player on the court, Jason Tatum. This man is a walking bucket of shit. This man is ass and a half. He got locked up by Zion, and passing the rock never crossed his mind. And they kept going back to the Tatum well, but this has been dried up longer than Hillary Clinton. On 3 possessions in a row, he single-handedly made sure the Union came up empty. And the South didn't have to do anything but watch Tatum not cook. They won this one, or better yet, didn't lose this one, 23-27. And one of these players was not like the other. KD had 15 points, and the next highest scorer in this game was Gafford with 6. I'm still going to allow 5 of these guys to survive, but that might have been their last chance. And finally, Tatum is gone after surviving several rounds of the firing squad. That might be a positive for the Union at this point. And on an even brighter note, they're keeping Donovan Mitchell once again. The rest of the survivors are quite frankly looking like survivors. And up next, we have the matchup that has been bound to happen. The Great Lakes versus the Southwest. This might as well be for all the marbles. The Southwest have a 4 overall advantage going into this one, and they're going to need every ounce of it against the Great Lakes. To no surprise, these teams were evenly matched, but then Draymond came in the game and made his presence known. He hacked Jarrett Allen on the drive. He tried to run a train on Jimmy Butler with LeBron, something he's been dreaming about for a decade. He then dunked on Allen. He got a steal, which led to a fast break layup. And then he ran the floor for a layup of his own to give the Union a 7-point lead. And that was all within a few minutes. Regardless of overall, Draymond might need to be starting for the Union. He's really built for this concept. But to start off the second half, Shaq gets a mismatch and finds Jimmy for an open 3. And on the next possession, Jimmy takes back the lead with another 3-pointer. But down 4, Captain America has risen from the cryopod. LeBron hits a 3 to make it a 1-point game, then finds Kobe for the go-ahead basket. Now in the fourth quarter, these two teams are trading baskets, but Dre is back. He stops Jarrett Allen from an easy run to the basket, and on the other end, Curry started to find his rhythm. With 44 seconds to go, the South are down 5. They can still come back, but they decided to send a double at Kobe behind half court and leave Curry open for yet another 3. That's good, no shit, and that's game. The Great Lakes Union ended up winning this one 46-36. Ant showed up big in this one with a game high of 14. Shaq surprisingly only took 3 shots but still had 4 and 7. Curry led the Union with 11 points, Booker had another nice game, and LeBron filled it up with 8, 1, and 4, and a block. And for the first firing squad for the Southwest, this team was stacked to begin with. They're going to take some losses, but they still look pretty good. But most importantly, for a great low rate you can get online, go to the General and save some time. General Shaq lived. Their 90 overalls were cut in half, but Cade Cunningham is a versatile one to keep. The only problem might be their center depth. With 15 players on each side of the war, I brought the teams back together for what will likely be the deciding battle in this war. The Union now have 5 90 overall players being led by General Kobe, LeBron, and Curry. Their starting 5 will be Curry, Mitchell, Kobe, LeBron, and Lively, with their consistent spark plug of 91 overall Booker coming off the bench. The Confederacy will only have 3 90 overall players, but they're looking like they have the weight and dog advantage in this one. Their starting 5 will be Cade Cunningham at point, Austin Reeves at shooting guard, KD at the 3, Zion at the 4, and Shaq at the 5. The first half of basketball had everything this war had to offer: broken bones, flagrant fouls, Draymond Green flourishing. At the beginning of the second half, the Union started off with a turnover, and KD genuinely just had one of the nicest, smoothest moves so far in this war. But on the next play, Zion was anything but nice. He violated my king. The Union were down 3 entering the fourth, but who else but Draymond would bring that down to 1 with a dunk on Shaq. And on the following play, he did one better. He knocked down a 3 to tie the game with less than 3 minutes left. LeBron is making every right play at the moment. He gets doubled. He finds a wide open Curry, but it's off. On defense, they need a stop, so he gets a stop, just for Donovan Mitchell to pull a Denzel Valentine. And it's going to be the true prideful Southern boy to put this game away. Austin Reeves on the pick and roll dime Shaq to go up 4. And when it's time to hit some free throws, he hits them. He just plays the game the right way, if you ask me. And it's looking like the South might finally rise. Again. They won this game 35-29, and now 10 of the remaining 15 Union soldiers will be eliminated, all but guaranteeing their defeat in this war. The remaining soldiers from the Union with their backs against the wall will be led by LeBron James. His sidekick will be Mikal Bridges. At center, I guess it'll be Draymond. The size is not looking great for this final squad, but they have heart. And that heart was actually paying off. With 3 minutes to go in the second, CJ hit a 3 that put the Union up 3. Rebounding was a huge problem for the Union. They just had to be lucky with the way the ball bounces, but what's not going to help is the Iron Man himself hurting his back and having to be temporarily pulled out of this game. Things were bad, but from here, they got even worse. 40 overall Apostrophe came in for the first time ever, and he decided this is his time to shine. Thankfully, they got that crayon-eating Marine out of here, but there was nothing the Union could do to save themselves. It was an embarrassing defeat for the Union, but it's not like they had much of a chance coming into this one. The Confederacy has completely won this war and still have 15 survivors in their name. But that's gonna do it. Really sorry about the timing of this video. I'll probably put something in the comments, but I swear I started making this video before the assassination. I mean, on one hand, this might be good for the algorithm, but come on, fellas. We couldn't have waited 1 week? I'm in the middle of something here, making me look bad. Fuck. All right. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, you know what to do. If you didn't, fuck off. Much love, and I will see you in the next one.